So last week we posted a video where we dissected what we think is one of the few major flaws in Monster Hunter World. We discussed how I'd been pushed to the point of nearly hanging up my hunting horn by the heavily RNG-reliant endgame economy, specifically concerning decorations. Now don't get me wrong, it would have just been a temporary hiatus.
I wish I knew how to quit you.
Maybe a break just until Iceborne dropped, but I just didn't really feel like I had that much agency anymore. That my character's progress had become a little too random for my tastes. I also examined Kolvtaroth's loot system and discussed the return of AT Kolv and posited the theory that Monster Hunter may be doubling down on RNG. A move which I argued could potentially make Iceborne a little bit less fun than it could be. So I posted that video and I was all excited and ready to go defend my opinion to the internet, but then Capcom changed everything. AT Great Jagras was introduced.
The mightiest monster of them all, the Godzilla, King of the Monsters.
Now while we all knew he was coming, I think none of us could have guessed exactly why he was coming and what the heck kind of reward he was going to bring. I mean, of all the monsters to bring back for a bonus round, Great Jagras sure seemed like a funny choice. I mean, certainly sounds like fun, but why? What's the point? Well, now that he's here, it's clear to see that he was very much intended to be part of the appreciation event. And he has been making hunters around the world feel oh so very appreciated. Because as you may already know, he is a literal decoration piñata. Capcom really opened up the floodgates on decorations here. Just looking back at the gems that I didn't have when I posted the previous video, you can see on the screen how much progress I have made. And this is just from a couple of sittings. I mean, you can get up to 30 decorations by either rubbing his belly, or by letting him, voluntarily release his goodies. And on average, about 4 to 5 out of those 30 tend to be worn or warped, which are the face stones that give you access to the rarest decorations in the game. Even better, on the post-game rewards screen, you're guaranteed to get some more worn and warped stones. I think my record was 5 worn and 2 warped. That is 37 glorious decorations to unwrap at the end of the fight, when typically you might only get about 3 of them for a tempered Elder Dragon. While this is great, it's upset the balance in my gaming life. So thanks, Capcom. Now how am I supposed to practice my microspace short hop fastball cloud fares when I'm obsessively farming Chungus with all of my free time? You do realize that because of this, another fucking Yoshi is gonna F-smash me straight out of bracket. Seriously though, that dude's F-smash is just crazy. Anyway, while Chungus can make the average hunter work pretty hard for those decorations, more experienced gamers should have no problem making short work of him. He does have several moves that are capable of one-shotting, all but the tankiest of builds, so watch out for his lunge attack, which leads to him killing you on the ground, and watch out for that puke attack. It's great because it gives you the glorious decorations, but it'll kill you outright if it hits you. Now while that might sound bad, the reality is he can be easily and consistently chain stunned to death. My go-to strategy is to put on the temporal mantle, let him puke up about 20 decorations, then simply pitfall trap him, impact mantle knock him out, trip him, then capture him. Usually takes 5-6 minutes per run and nets about all 30 of the drop decorations. While this is great, it really has made me stop and think about my previous opinion piece on Monster Hunter. To a large extent, I feel vindicated. It turns out I'm not completely crazy. It looks like the good folks over at Capcom may not be too happy with the rate that decorations are dropping, and maybe they've thrown the community a festering, meat-covered Aptonoth bone as a way of saying,
"We're sorry. We're sorry. Sorry."
Now granted, I say that, tongue firmly planted in cheek. Surely Capcom has nothing to apologize for, but it is definitely a solid consolation prize for those of us who have been frustrated by bad RNG. It's also great to know that Capcom's watching my videos. Yeah, right. Anyway, this all even makes me more excited about the AT Levasioth event. While it may be a little bit of wishful thinking, I'll admit that I have high hopes that he might be a similar pinata for Heroes and Warriors Streamstones. And I know that might be silly, but who here would have thought that the Jagras were just going to vomit up dozens of decorations? The gloves seem to be off, and I think Capcom really wants us all in celebration mode. I mean, imagine just having gotten to endgame and your friend running you through this event. You'd probably have everything you need in just an afternoon. And you could have most of the cool gems by the end of the week. Now imagine if I'm right about the Levasioth. Between those two events, you'd be armed to the teeth and ready to take on the toughest monsters in the game in no time. This is where I get super hopeful for what's coming next. Because the question is, what does it all mean for Iceborne? As much as I hate RNG, I do recognize that it was a critical element of vanilla Monster Hunter World's endgame. With it essentially reduced to a very short and easy grind, the decoration pursuit wouldn't be sustainable as a carrot in the short term, let alone as a key activity in the next expansion. From what's been announced, we know there will be new monsters, weapons, armor, maps, and moves. And while I'm not a veteran of the series, I've gathered from others that it would make sense to expect major overhauls to core systems, including refinements and embellishments to each of the game's major weapons. So if we already know there's going to be new moves, and can safely say that fundamental weapon adjustments are on the way, would it be so crazy to think that there may be a whole new roster of skills, and therefore decorations, to pursue in the future? I really do hope that's the case, as building the perfect set of skills remains to be one of the best aspects of Monster Hunter. And that was simply what my frustration was before, feeling limited in my ability to do that. To go one step further, I'm hoping that the AT Chungus event is an indication that maybe Capcom is backing off the RNG, or at least making it just a little bit less aggressive and sort of unwinnable for the players. And maybe to go with that, there could be entirely new progression systems and pursuits above and beyond what anyone's experienced so far. As much as I may not like the Kolv Taroth loot system, between that system and the siege mechanic itself, we've seen that Capcom is willing and able to experiment with core game systems to give us things we're not expecting. To that effect, Monster Hunter has, at almost every turn, delighted and surprised me with decisions being made. We've already talked about the excellent crossovers, seasonal events, and new monsters, and now we have this Decorations Mea Culpa do-over that is Great Chungus. So now I have more faith than ever that Monster Hunter World is going to continue to be awesome. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I love Monster Hunter. But the difference now is, I am slowly entering full hype mode for Iceborne. So much for not getting overexcited. Hopefully the folks making those business decisions around this game continue to realize that by investing in the core audience of their fans, keeping them engaged and excited, they can do what few AAA publishers are doing these days. Not piss off the entire internet. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, a like would be super appreciated. Comment down below and tell us what you're hoping will happen in Iceborne. Maybe you're a Monster Hunter veteran and you could fill me in on what's really likely to happen. If you're curious about the build that I'm using for some of the quick kills that are in the background, I'll put the armor set in the description of the video, but this one is not an RNG special. I picked it up from the excellent channel Jin, Jinx, and Tuna, the Monster Hunter math guys, so be sure to go check out their video as well. Anyway, that's all I got for you today, guys, so stay classy, internet.